The rain hammered the windshield like it had a personal grudge, turning the Brooklyn streets into a blurry watercolor of neon and regret. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles white, as Caleb's voice crackled through the phone speaker. "Alex, man, you gotta go. Dad's falling apart without Mom. He won't even let the hospice nurse in anymore." And just like that, with those words slicing through the static, I swerved into the Holland Tunnel, heading west toward the one place I'd sworn I'd never go back to. The family brownstone in Jersey where Zachary Hayes still breathed, a ghost in his own life. I pulled up to the old Victorian on Maplewood Lane just as the storm broke, thunder rumbling like it was mocking my hesitation. The house loomed against the slate-gray sky, its wraparound porch sagging under ivy that hadn't been trimmed since Aunt Rita's funeral 2 summers back. Caleb had texted me the spare key code hours ago, 7-1-1-9, his mom's birthday, and now here I was, 25 years old, fresh out of my graphic design gig in the city, playing errand boy for my best friend who was too buried in his med school rotations to handle this himself. "You're the only one he listens to," Caleb had said over lukewarm IPAs at our Bushwick dive bar last week. "Remember how you fixed his laptop that time? You're like the family wizard." Yeah, right. If only he knew the real reason I'd always jumped at chances to tinker around Zachary, because every accidental brush of fingers or shared laugh over bad coffee felt like stealing fire from the gods. I punched in the code, the door creaking open to a foyer that smelled of stale pipe tobacco and lemon polish. "Mr. Hayes? Zachary? It's Alex, Cole's friend from the city." No answer. Just the drip-drip from a leak in the kitchen ceiling I'd patched once before. I towed off my soaked chucks, padding through the dim living room where faded photos lined the mantel. Caleb as a gap-toothed kid in Little League, Zachary in his Coast Guard blues, arms slung around a younger version of himself, and Elena, Caleb's mom, her smile radiant even in sepia. Cancer had stolen her 3 months ago, quick and cruel, leaving Zachary adrift in a sea of sympathy casseroles and empty echo chambers. Upstairs, the bedroom door hung ajar, and there he was, curled on the unmade king bed like a felled oak, broad shoulders hunched under a threadbare quilt. 52. Zachary Hayes was still the kind of man who turned heads. Salt and pepper hair tousled from restless sleep, jaw shadowed with stubble that begged to be traced, those piercing hazel eyes half-lidded now in exhaustion. He stirred at my footsteps, blinking up like I was a hallucination. "Alex, what the hell are you doing here?" "Caleb sent me," I said, forcing a grin as I dropped my duffel by the dresser. "Said you needed a hand with the gutters or something. And maybe a reality check." He groaned, rubbing his face, the lines around his mouth deepening like cracks in parched earth. I'd known Zachary since freshman year at Rutgers, when Caleb dragged me home for Thanksgiving and I ended up elbow-deep in Thanksgiving turkey grease beside him. Back then, he'd been the stoic dad type, gruff jokes over football on TV, a firm handshake that lingered just a beat too long. Now, he looked hollowed out, the kind of broken that whiskey couldn't fix. We started small. I coaxed him downstairs for coffee. Black, no sugar, just how he liked it, and while he nursed his mug, I tackled the kitchen sink, a rusty beast that had been gurgling threats for weeks. He watched from the table, nursing not just the coffee but a silence thicker than fog off the Hudson. "You don't have to do this, kid," he muttered finally, voice gravelly from disuse. "Cole's got his own shit. You too. I'm here 'cause I want to be," I shot back, wiping suds on my jeans. Truth was, I'd been nursing my own ghosts. A string of ghosting grinder hookups that left me feeling like yesterday's takeout, and a coming-out story that still stung because Caleb knew. Sure. But Zachary, he'd never said a word about it. Not even after Caleb spilled the beans over Christmas ham 2 years ago. Just a nod. A pass the gravy. And that was that. American as apple pie. Sweep it under the rug and hope it ferments into something palatable. By noon, the rain had eased to a drizzle, and we'd migrated to the backyard, where the gutters sagged like overripe fruit. I balanced on the ladder, cursing as water sluiced down my collar, while Zachary held the base, his calloused hands steady on the rungs. "Watch that third step. It's a widowmaker," he called up, a ghost of his old humor flickering. I laughed, too loud, and for a second, our eyes locked, mine from the heights, his from below, and something electric arced between us, unspoken but undeniable. I nearly slipped, heart pounding not from the drop but from the way his gaze lingered, warm and searching, like he was seeing me for the first time. That night, after pizza from Gino's Extra Cheese, hold the anchovies, we settled on the couch with a bottle of Zachary's emergency bourbon. The TV droned some ESPN recap, but neither of us watched. He talked, halting at first, about Elena's last days, the way she'd squeeze his hand during chemo, whispering, "Don't you dare let go, Zach," how the house felt like a museum now, exhibits of a life paused mid-breath. I listened, legs tucked under me, the bourbon loosening my tongue until I admitted my own mess, the ex who bailed after I wouldn't tone it down for his Bible Belt family. It's like, you pour everything into someone, and poof, they're allergic to the real you. Zachary's hand found my knee then, a paternal pat meant to comfort, but it burned through denim like a brand. "The real you's just fine, Alex. Don't let em tell you otherwise." His thumb brushed once, accidental, before pulling away, but the air hummed with what-ifs. We clinked glasses, the amber liquid catching firelight, and as the clock ticked past midnight, I crashed in the guest room, staring at water-stained ceiling tiles, wondering if the thunder outside was just the storm or the one brewing in my chest. The next morning dawned crisp, the kind of autumn bite that sharpened everything. Caleb called while I scrambled eggs, his voice tinny through the Bluetooth speaker. "How's the old man? He eat anything yet?" I glanced at Zachary, hunched over the paper at the breakfast nook, pretending not to eavesdrop. "Yeah, we're good. Gutters are fixed. Sink's purring. He's opening up." A pause. Then Caleb's laugh, easy and oblivious. "You're a saint, dude. Tell him I love him. Yeah, and hey, beers when I'm back next weekend." "Will do." I hung up, plating the eggs with a flourish. Zachary looked up, fork midway to mouth, and for a heartbeat, his eyes softened. Gratitude, maybe something more. We ate in companionable quiet, the radio crooning Springsteen, Thunder Road, filling the spaces words couldn't. After, he insisted on driving me back to the city. Can't have you hitchhiking like some beatnik, and the ride over the bridge was a symphony of small confessions. His regret over not taking that sabbatical with Elena to Napa, my fear that I'd peek at freelance logos for craft breweries. At the toll booth, he handed me a 20, fingers grazing mine. "For the bus back if you need it." "And Alex, thanks." "Really?" I nodded, throat tight, and watched his truck fade into traffic, taillights winking like farewells. Back in my shoebox apartment, the city swallowed me whole, honks and halal carts and the endless scroll of feeds. But Zachary lingered, a low hum under my skin. I texted Caleb a thumbs-up emoji, then stared at my phone, thumb hovering over a blank message to zhaze62. Delete. Redial. No. This was just a favor. Pit stop. But as I lay awake that night, city sirens wailing like lost souls, I couldn't shake the pull. The way his laugh rumbled like distant thunder, promising storms I wasn't sure I could weather. Days blurred into a rhythm I hadn't asked for but couldn't quit. Caleb's rotations stretched another week. So I found excuses, forgot my toolkit. Mind if I swing by for it? Zachary never questioned. Just left the door unlocked, a pot of chili simmering on the stove. We'd tinker, replacing the warped fence slats one afternoon, his flannel sleeve brushing my arm as we hammered, sweat beading on his neck in the unseasonable heat. Evenings dissolved into porch swings, fireflies winking as we swapped stories. He told me about his Coast Guard days, hauling ass through nor'easters off Cape Cod, the brotherhood that forged him. I confessed my secret sketchbooks, doodles of men who looked suspiciously like him, strong jaws, quiet strengths. One night, after too many beers and a Mets game that went into extras, the air thickened. We were shoulder to shoulder on the couch. The score tied, when he turned to me, voice low. You ever feel like you're waitin' for permission to live, Alex? Like the world's holdin' its breath. His knee pressed mine, deliberate now, and I froze, pulse thundering. Every damn day, I whispered, and before I could overthink, I leaned in soft, tentative, lips brushing his in a question. He didn't pull away. Instead, his hand cupped my jaw, rough palm against smooth skin, and he kissed me back, slow, like savoring aged whiskey, tasting of hops and heartache. Fireworks weren't in it. This was earthquake, foundations shifting underfoot. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, his breath hot on my cheek. Jesus, kid. What are we doing? But his eyes said don't stop, and neither did I. That night blurred into touches, fingers tracing collarbones, shirts discarded in the lamplight, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. He was gentle, reverent, whispering my name like a prayer as we moved together, the bed creaking under us like it approved. Dawn found us tangled in sheets, his arm heavy across my waist, graying chest hair tickling my back. Guilt gnawed at the edges, but so did bliss, the kind that makes you believe in reruns for broken things. We didn't talk about Caleb, or the lines we'd crossed. Just coffee, strong and silent, and a promise in his lingering gaze. This isn't over. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting Jersey lawns in crimson and gold, and our secret bloomed like contraband roses in the side yard. I'd sneak over twice a week, claiming freelance deadlines that let me work remotely from his creaky desk in the den. Zachary cleared space for my laptop amid his nautical charts and dog-eared Tom Clancy novels, brewing French press like it was foreplay. Mornings were ours, lazy breakfasts of oatmeal with cinnamon, his foot hooking mine under the table, a smirk playing on lips still swollen from night whispers. Afternoons dissolved into projects, the garage reorganization that turned into a makeout session against the workbench, sawdust in our hair, the attic purge where we unearthed Elena's love letters, his voice cracking as he read one aloud, me holding him until tears dried on my shirt. You're good for me, Alex, he'd murmur into my neck during those stolen hours, hands roaming like they were mapping uncharted waters. And God, he was good for me too, grounding the chaos of city life, his steady heartbeat a metronome to my frantic pulse. We were careful, achingly so, no texts during Caleb's calls, no marks above the collar, no futures sketched beyond the next full moon. But in the quiet, when he'd trace the constellation of freckles on my shoulder or pull me close during Hitchcock marathons, it felt infinite. Romantic, yeah, but laced with that American grit. The underdog love story where the heroes improvise happy endings from scraps. Caleb checked in sporadically, his updates a lifeline to normalcy. Crushed that anatomy exam. Drinks on me soon. I'd relay them to Zachary over dinner. Steak seared rare on the grill. Potatoes mashed with too much butter, watching pride flicker in his eyes. Kid's gonna save the world, he'd say, clinking forks. But there was a shadow there, unspoken. What about us? We dodged it, diving instead into the physical. Nights where he'd pin my wrists above my head, hazel eyes dark with want. Or mornings where I'd wake him with lazy kisses trailing south, his groans rumbling like thunder over the plains. Then came the first crack. It was a Thursday, rain lashing the windows as I packed to head back. Zachary lingering in the doorway, arms crossed like he could barricade time. "Stay," he said, simple as that, and I almost did, almost threw caution to the wind and called in sick to my boss at the ad agency. But my phone buzzed. Caleb, video call. "Hey, stranger, Dad around." Heart slamming, I angled the screen away from the bedroom hall, forcing a grin. "Nah, he's out grabbing milk." "What's up?" He launched into med school war stories, dissecting cadavers, flirting with a girl in his study group named Mia. "She's cool, man. Thinks my lame dad jokes are charming." Lame dad jokes. The phrase twisted like a knife. I laughed it off, but inside, guilt coiled tighter. After hanging up, Zachary emerged from the kitchen, 2 mugs steaming. "Everything good?" His voice was casual, but his grip on the handles betrayed him, knuckles pale. "Yeah, just Caleb being Caleb." I sipped, burning my tongue, and the words tumbled out before I could cage them. "He mentioned some girl. Mia." "Sounds serious." Zachary's face shuddered, a storm front rolling in. He set his mug down harder than needed, ceramic clinking like a warning. "Good for him. Kid deserves normal. Normal." The word hung, heavy as lead, underscoring everything we weren't. The illicit affair, the age chasm, the betrayal simmering beneath our stolen bliss. We didn't make love that night. Instead, he drove me to the PATH station in silence, wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. At the platform, under buzzing fluorescence, he cupped my face, fierce, desperate, and kissed me like it might be goodbye. "This. It's real, Alex. Don't let the noise drown it." I nodded, boarding the train with his taste on my lips, but the Jersey skyline receding felt like amputation. Back in Brooklyn, the city assaulted me, subway delays, a client nitpicking my comps, a Grindr notification I swiped left on without looking. I threw myself into work, sketching mood boards for a craft beer campaign, hops and harbors, ironic echoes of Zachary's world. Nights, I'd scroll his Facebook, public posts only, fishing for glimpses, a photo of him at the VFW hall, arm around a buddy, smile strained but there. No mentions of me, of course. We texted sparingly, "Miss your laugh. Drive safe tonight." Emojis as shields. 2 weeks later, Caleb announced his rotation break. Coming home for Thanksgiving early, bringing Mia. Dad's gonna love her. Panic spiked, cold and sharp. I begged off the family dinner, citing a big pitch, but Caleb wouldn't hear it. Dude, you have to come. Dad's been moping. Says you're the only one who gets through to him. If only he knew how deep that getting through went. I arrived at the brownstone on Wednesday Eve, pie in hand from the bakery on Court Street, nerves jangling like loose change. The house thrummed with unaccustomed life. Mia in the kitchen, chopping celery with efficient flicks, her laugh bright as she bantered with Caleb about Grey's Anatomy inaccuracies. Zachary played host, apron tied loose over his Henley, stirring gravy with a wooden spoon, but his eyes found mine across the room, a current pulling taut. Alex, he said, voice even, extending a hand that squeezed once. Too long. Glad you made it. Dinner was a minefield. Caleb dominated, regaling Mia with tales of our college hijinks. That time we streaked the quad after the Rutgers upset, or the all-nighter cramming for bio where I confessed my first crush on a TA. Alex here's the romantic, Caleb teased, winking. Always doodling love letters in his margins. Heat crawled up my neck. Zachary's fork paused midair, his gaze on his plate. Mia, bless her, steered to safer waters. Her nursing dreams, the holiday plans. But under the table, Zachary's boot nudged mine. Accidental? Intentional? And I jerked away, heart racing. After pie, Caleb and Mia claimed the den for a movie. Elf, because irony, leaving us to clear. In the kitchen, suds foaming in the basin. Zachary's hip bumped mine as he passed a plate. You okay? He whispered, breath ghosting my ear. I nodded, drying furiously, but when Caleb called for more wine, I bolted to the cellar, dark, cool, bottles whispering secrets. Footsteps followed. Zachary, silhouette filling the doorway. Alex, wait. We collided there, among the dust motes and Merlot racks, his mouth on mine, urgent, hands fisting my sweater as if I might vanish. Kissed back, starving, but reality crashed. Voices upstairs, laughter filtering down like shrapnel. We can't, I gasped, pulling free. His face crumpled. I know. But Christ, I can't pretend you're just Cole's buddy anymore. The confession hung, vulnerable, and I ached to bridge it, to hell with consequences. But the stairs creaked, Caleb descending. We sprang apart, me clutching a random Pinot, Zachary smoothing his hair. The rest of the night blurred. Forced chuckles at Will Ferrell's antics, Mia's head on Caleb's shoulder, Zachary's chair a continent away. I left early, citing subway schedules, hugging Caleb tight, avoiding Zachary's eyes. In the cab back, Uber, actually, because who takes subways at midnight? Tears pricked hot. This was madness. Love blooming in forbidden soil, roots tangling with loyalty. But as the skyline glittered, I knew one truth. I'd water it anyway. Consequences be damned. Winter crept in on frosted breath. Holidays a haze of eggnog toasts and forced cheer. Caleb and Mia made it official over New Year's, her ring a modest sapphire that caught light like promise. He FaceTimed me from the airport, grinning ear to ear. She's the one, Alex. Dad even pulled out the good scotch to celebrate. My stomach twisted. I'd been dodging Zachary's texts. Guilt my new companion. Haven't heard from you. Everything all right? I'd reply with emojis, thumbs up, Coffee cups, barricades against the pull. But January brought a thaw, or so I thought. A brutal nor'easter dumped 6 inches overnight, and my super ghosted on the plow. Stranded in Bushwick, power flickering, I caved, texted Zachary. Snowed in. Missed the Jersey quiet. His reply pinged instant. Doors open. Bring your sketchpad. Heart somersaulting. I trudged the 3 miles, boots crunching virgin white, breath pluming dragons, arriving numb but alive. He greeted me with hot toddies and a fleece throw, the fire crackling in the hearth like old times. We didn't speak of the rift. Instead, we built a fort of blankets and memories, sketching by lamplight, him posing shirtless, claiming it was for artistic integrity, me capturing the play of shadows on his torso, the scar from a vet buddy's fishing mishap. Laughter bubbled, easy, and when he pulled me into his lap, pencils scattering, felt like homecoming. We made love slow that night, snow muffling the world outside, his whispers inventorying my flaws like treasures. This mole here? Perfect. Your laugh? Kills me every time. Morning brought revelations. Over pancakes, his specialty, laced with vanilla and regret, he admitted the strain. Cole's happy. That's all I ever wanted. But you're the curveball I didn't see coming. I traced his knuckles, scarred from deck work. Good or bad kind? He smiled, sad-edged. The kind that changes the game. We vowed caution, weekends only, no traces, but as I shoveled out to catch the late train, his kiss branded deeper than frostbite. Spring teased with crocuses and longer days, our rhythm syncing like a well-oiled engine. I'd arrive Fridays after work, duffel slung over shoulder, to Zachary's marinara simmering, recipe tweaked from Elena's notes, a ghost we honored in every bite. Caleb, oblivious, FaceTimed less, buried in rotations, Mia's texts pinging his phone with heart emojis. Should have been bliss, but fissures widened. A near miss when I left a hoodie in the foyer, Zachary bundling it away just as Caleb swung by unannounced for laundry. Or the night Zachary drank too much, voice slurring confessions. I love you, kid, in ways that scare the shit out of me. And I held him, but dawn brought hangover regrets, his walls rebuilding brick by brick. May bloomed sticky and relentless, humidity turning Jersey into a steam bath. My agency landed a whale client, a craft distillery rebrand, and deadlines chained me to Brooklyn. But Zachary and I carved pockets. Midnight drives to the Delaware Water Gap. Windows down. Bruce on the stereo, his hand on my thigh as we chased fireflies along backroads. We'd park at overlooks, making out like teenagers, stars wheeling overhead like conspirators. This is us, he'd say, forehead to mine. Against the odds, romantic, hell yes. But underneath, the drama simmered, that creeping dread that secrets fester like untreated wounds. Caleb's graduation loomed, a milestone ballooning on the horizon. He called mid-June, voice electric. Top of my class. Bro, ceremonies in Philly, whole families coming. Mia's meeting the extended Hayes clan. You in, extended Hayes clan. Aunts from Scranton, uncles with bad knees and worse opinions. I'd met them once, at Elena's memorial, their side eyes over my artsy haircut polite but pointed. Wouldn't miss it, I lied, stomach nodding. Zachary texted later, it'll be fine. We'll play it cool. Cool. Right? Like we hadn't been burning hotter than a Jersey summer. The week before, tension cracked wide. I arrived early Friday, key turning in the lock to find Zachary on the couch. Phone clutched like a grenade. Caleb's voice echoed tinny. Dot and Alex? He's been weird lately. Dodging hangs. You notice. My blood iced. I froze in the hall, eavesdropping like a thief. Zachary's reply was measured. Kids busy. Work stuff. A pause. Then Caleb. Probing. Yeah. But. Dad. You okay? You've been distant too. Like. Since Mom. Zachary's sigh carried. Heavy. Grieving's a bitch. Cole. We'll talk soon. He hung up, and I stepped in, feigning casual. Everything good? His eyes, storm-tossed, met mine, and he pulled me down beside him, burying his face in my neck. He misses you. We both do. Both. The word twisted. Betrayal's first bloom. We didn't make love. Instead, we really talked, for the first time since winter. About the lies stacking like Jenga blocks, the fear that one pull would topple everything. I don't want to hurt him, Zachary said, voice raw. But losing you, that'd gut me worse. I held him, promising we'd navigate, but doubt seated deep. Graduation day dawned brutal, 95 degrees, air thick as chowder. The Philly Convention Center buzzed with mortarboards and air horn cheers, Caleb striding the stage to pomp and circumstance, his grin megawatt. Mia hooped from our row, her sundress floral against the sea of navy gowns. Zachary sat beside me, starched in khakis and a button-down that hugged his frame too well, our knees brushing accidental non-accidental. The extended clan milled post-ceremony, hugs reeking of Old Spice. Aunt Gertie's when's your big day? Cole? Prodding Mia like a fork in pie. I hung peripheral, nursing a warm beer, Zachary's glances lifelines across the crowd. Dinner was at a riverside bistro, overpriced crab cakes and toasts that dragged. Uncle Ray cornered me by the bar. Heard you're still doodlin' for a livin'. When you gonna man up? Get a real job. I smiled through gritted teeth, escaping to the patio where Zachary waited, cigarette glowing like a beacon. Ignore the fossils, he muttered, offering a drag I waved off. Our fingers tangled behind his back, hidden by the rail a stolen anchor. But Caleb found us there, Mia in tow, his arm loose around her waist. You two plotting world domination? He joked, oblivious, and we laughed, brittle. The drive back was a pressure cooker. Caleb rode with Mia in her Civic, leaving Zachary and me in his truck, windows cracked, AC wheezing defeat. Silence stretched, broken only by the Schuylkill's glint. Then, soft, proud of him, aren't you? I nodded, throat tight. Like you wouldn't believe, he reached over, squeezing my hand, brief, but enough to spark. At a red light, he leaned in, kissing me quick, fierce. Love you, he breathed, and headlights flared behind us, go time. We separated, hearts hammering, but the seed was planted, we could tell him. Make it real. That night, alone in my apartment, fans whirring futile against the heat, I sketched feverishly, Zachary's profile against sunset, Caleb's diploma in foreground, a family fractured reformed. Texted the scan to him our story. His reply, heart emoji, then come over tomorrow. We need to talk about us. Hope flickered, fragile as firefly glow. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. Monday morning, my phone rang, Unknown number, but the area code screamed Jersey. I answered, voice cautious. Hello, static. Then a woman's voice, clipped. This is Detective Lara Voss, Newark PD. We're looking into some discrepancies in Zachary Hayes' financials. You his accountant? Or something else? My world tilted. What? No. I'm just a friend, she hummed, unconvinced. Funny. His browser history says otherwise. Late-night searches, age of consent NJ, gay rights inheritance laws. Ring any bells? I hung up, pulse roaring, piecing it frantic, Zachary, drowning in Elena's medical debts, the house mortgage ballooning. Had he? No. But the call unnerved, a harbinger. I drove to Jersey that lunch, bursting through his door wild-eyed. Cops called. What the fuck? Zach, he paled, setting down his coffee, face crumpling like wet newsprint. It's nothing. Old debts catching up. I looked some stuff up. For us. Ways to make it legal. Protect you if what? I snapped, pacing the kitchen like a caged wolf. If Caleb finds out and disowns you? Or if the whole town brands us sinners? His silence damned him. I's pleading. We argued then, raw, ugly, words like shrapnel. Me accusing recklessness, him defending desperation. I just wanted options. Alex. A future. I stormed out, tires screeching, but regret chased me back to the city, a bitter passenger. Caleb texted that eve, hey, Mia and I are in town this weekend. Dinner at yours? Miss our bro hangs. Guilt tsunami. I agreed, numb, prepping my shoebox with takeout Thai and bad beer. They arrived buzzing, her with stories of rotations, him with med school gossip, but my laughs rang hollow, eyes darting to my phone. No word from Zachary. After they left, arms full of leftovers, I cracked, dialed him, voicemail beeping. I'm sorry. We need to fix this. Call me. He did. 2 a.m. Voice whiskey rough. Can't sleep. Come over. I was there by 3. Rain slicked and desperate. We collided in the foyer, kisses bruising, hands clawing for absolution. Upstairs, it was cathartic, bodies slamming, moans echoing off walls like confessions. After, spent and sticky, he held me close. No more secrets. I'll handle the cops, it's just audits. But us? We're endgame. I believed him, tracing his ribs, the drama yielding to romance's tide. Summer peaked in firework bursts, our bond reforged in stolen heat. Caleb's engagement party loomed, backyard bash at the brownstone, white tents and string lights, but we played parts. Me the witty sidekick, Zachary the beaming dad, our touches coded, a napkin passed with fingers lingering, a shared glance over cake that said soon. Mia's family mingled, waspy and warm, toasting futures we envied. Late, as guests thinned, Caleb pulled me aside on the porch, beer in hand. You seem off, man. Everything cool with Dad? He lights up when you visit. My heart stuttered. Yeah, just life's a grind. He clapped my shoulder, trusting. Your family, Alex. Always. The words wounded, sweet sharp, and I hugged him fierce, vowing silently, no more lies. But fate's a cruel editor. 2 days post-party. Zachary's truck idled outside my building at dawn. Unannounced. Urgent. Get in, he said, face ashen. We drove to a diner off Flatbush. Formica tables sticky, coffee bitter. The audit's bad, he confessed, hands trembling on his mug. Embezzlement flags from my old firm, nothing I did, but they're pinning it. If it sticks, prison. The house goes. Shock hollowed me. We'll fight it. Lawyer up. He shook his head, eyes glistening. Can't drag you into this mess. Cole neither. Panic clawed. What are you saying? His voice broke. We end it. Now. Before it poisons everything. No. The word lodged. But he was resolute. Love's ultimate betrayal. Self-sacrifice masked as mercy. I left him there. Diner door slamming like finality. Tears blurring the walk home. Weeks blurred in agony. Radio silence from him. Caleb's oblivious invites piling like indictments. I drowned in work. Sketches turning abstract. Shattered harbors. Lovers adrift. Then, climax. A manila envelope slid under my door. No return address. Inside, court summons. Zachary named defendant. Trial date circled in red. A note. His scrawl. Forgive me. Live big. For us. Couldn't breathe. Drove to Jersey unbidden. Bursting into the brownstone where he sat amid packing boxes. Life disassembling. You don't get to decide alone, I yelled. Papers scattering. He rose. Defeated. It's done. Alex. Protect Cole. Protect yourself. We shattered then. Screams escalating to sobs. My fists pounding his chest until he pulled me close. Crumbling. I love you, he gasped. That's why. Caleb walked in then. Key and lock. Groceries in arms from an impromptu visit. The scene froze us. His dad and best friend entangled in wreckage. Truths laid bare. What the fuck? The world ended in that moment. Betrayal's crescendo crashing down. Caleb's grocery bags hit the hardwood with a thud that echoed like Judgment Day. Green beans rolling rogue across the floor. His face, usually all easy grins and stubble, twisted into something feral, eyes darting from Zachary's tear-streaked cheeks to my fisted hands on his shirt. Dad? Alex? Tell me this isn't. Jesus Christ. The air thickened, charged as the storm front rolling in from the sound. Thunder grumbling distant threats. Zachary disentangled first, stepping back like I'd burned him, hands raised in surrender. Cole. Son. It's not what it looks like? Caleb's voice cracked. High and ugly. The med student poise fracturing. You've been screwing my best friend? Behind my back? After Mom. He choked, fury morphing to grief, and lunged, not at me, but the nearest lamp, hurling it against the wall in a shatter of porcelain and bulb. Glass sprayed, catching light like shrapnel, and I flinched, instinct pulling me toward him. Caleb. Wait. Don't. He whirled, finger jabbing like a scalpel. You. My roommate. The guy I trusted with everything. My secrets. My family. How long? Alex, how long have you been? This. Betrayal etched deep. His eyes mirror of his father's, pleading for denial I couldn't give. Zachary moved then. Slow. Paternal. Months. Since Elena. It started innocent. Cole. Help around the house. Then. Feelings. I never meant. Months. Caleb laughed. Bitter bark. While I was busting my ass in scrubs. thinking you were just grieving, and you, to me, venom-laced, playing the hero? God, Mia was right. You're too sensitive, for your own good. The slur landed low, twisting our history, late-night confessions over pizza, my coming out in his dorm room freshman year, his hug and love you anyway. Dude, now poisoned. I swallowed glass. It wasn't planned. I love him, Caleb. That's the truth. The words hung, naked, and Zachary's inhale hitched. First time I'd said it aloud, to anyone. Caleb recoiled, face paling. Love, you're both delusional. It's wrong. Sick. He grabbed his keys, storming out, door slamming seismic. Silence crashed in, broken only by our ragged breaths. Zachary sank to the couch, head in hands. I told you. Poison. I knelt before him, gripping knees, desperate, defiant. We'll fix it. Talk to him. The trial, us everything, but his eyes, dulled to ash, said surrender. No, Alex. You go. Now. I left. Rain starting as I hit the porch, world blurring wet. Drove aimlessly, ending at the gap overlook where we chased stars, but the sky wept opaque. No fireflies to guide. Brooklyn swallowed me hollow. Caleb blocked my number that night. No voicemails. No texts begging. Mia's call came dawn. What did you do? Her voice steel. Protective. He showed up at my door. Drunk. Ranting. Said his world's imploding. I spilled, halting. Ashamed, the affair. The debts. The cops. She listened. Then, fix your mess, Alex. But don't call him. Not yet. Click. Work blurred to survival. Comps half-assed. Clients grumbling. Nights, I'd pace my apartment, sketching fragments. Zachary's hands. Caleb's glare, therapy on paper. A week in, the public defender called. Zachary pleading out. Community service for the discrepancies. A scapegoat deal. House spared but pride gutted. He doesn't want visitors, the lawyer said. Tone flat. Says to tell his son's friend. Move on. Move on. Like I was a bad investment. Rage boiled. Spilling to my therapist, yes. Caved. Booked sessions at a walk-in on Atlantic. Betrayal's a mirror, she said. All Brooklyn blunt. Shows you your own shadows. What are you really afraid of losing? Everything, I thought. The fantasy of us as rebels. Rewriting the script. Caleb resurfaced mid-July. Email Stark. Coffee. Neutral ground. 2 p.m. Starbucks on Broad. Heart hammering. I arrived early, cap pulled low, like incognito mattered. He slid into the booth opposite. Thinner. Shadows under eyes. Mia's absence a ghost. No bullshit, he started. Stirring black drip. I hate you. Both of you. For lying. For tainting Mom's memory. I nodded. Mute. Tears pricking. But Dad's a wreck. Won't eat. Won't talk. And you, pause. Knife edge. You're not a monster, Alex. Just stupid in love. Stupid in love. The absolution stung sweet. We talked then. Hours bleeding into evening. Lattes refilled cold. His hurt poured. The idolized dad cracked. The friendship fracked. My regrets. Prioritizing passion over loyalty. I thought we could hide forever. I admitted. American dream bullshit. Love conquers, right? He snorted, thawing fractional. Love's messy. Human. But you owe him. And me an apology tour. We hugged goodbye. Awkward. Bone crush, and he unblocked me. Tentative bridge. Texts trickled. Dad's starting service tomorrow. Landscaping gig. Heard from Mia? I replied careful. Orbiting without invading. August brought heat waves and mending. Caleb inviting me to a Mets game. Neutral turf. Hot dogs and heckles papering cracks. Mia's pissed, he confessed in the 7th inning stretch. Thinks I'm enabling. But family's family, even fucked up versions. Zachary remained fortress. I drive by the brownstone some nights. Lights on but curtains drawn. Imagining him inside. Pipe smoke curling. Regrets stewing. Once, glimpsed him on the porch. Weeding window boxes. Shoulders bowed. Honked soft. He looked up. Waved weak, connection faint as radio static. Fall pivoted us. Caleb proposed to Mia in the Poconos. Ring from a jeweler in Stroudsburg. Her yes echoing via group chat fireworks. The wedding planning whirlwind sucked us in. Venue hunts in the Finger Lakes. Tux fittings where Caleb joked. You clean up nice, for a homewrecker. Dark humor, but healing. He even asked my input on vows. Something real, not Hallmark crap, I suggested from E. Cummings, I carry your heart with me. He texted Zachary the line. No reply, but a forwarded thumbs up from Mia. Progress? My own life rebooted slow. A promotion at the agency. Mood boards for a queer-owned winery, irony noted. Dates? Swiped right once. On a barista with dimples. But coffee turned awkward. His laugh not rumbling right. You're elsewhere, he said. Kind. Guilty as charged. Climax brewed in October. Leaves aflame. Caleb cornered me post-tailgate. Rutgers win. Bonfire glow. Talk to Dad. For real. He's fading. The word chilled. I drove that night. Uninvited. Key still under the mat like muscle memory. Zachary answered shirtless. Sweat sheened from yard work. Eyes widening. Alex. Shit, what are you? Here to fight. Pushed in. Door clicking shut. The living room smelled of mulch and melancholy. Boxes half-packed, relocation whispers. We stood toe-to-toe. Breaths sinking unwilling. You don't get to ghost me. Not after everything. His laugh. Hollow. Everything? I ruined my son. My life. You deserve better. Better's a lie. I stepped closer. Hand to his chest, heart galloping under palm. We were real. Are real. Caleb knows, hates us less now. The trial's dust. Fight with me. Tears tracked his stubble. And he broke, collapsing into me, sobs racking like dry heaves. I held him, rocking, murmuring nonsense. I've got you. Always. We didn't kiss, not yet. Just held. Humanity raw. Two men pieced from fractures. Gluing slow. He talked through dawn. The service monotony. Raking leaves for strangers. Nights staring at Elena's side of the bed. Wondering if she'd approve. She always said love's the bravest risk. I confessed my voids. The loneliness post-betrayal. Sketches burned in a fire pit. You're my harbor, Zach. Storm or shine. Morning brought coffee. Tentative. What now? He asked. Mug midway. I grinned. First reel in months. Now, we date. Properly. Dinner's out. Hand-holding in daylight. Tell Caleb we're trying. He nodded, hope flickering. Yeah. Trying. Re-entry was glacial. Caleb's reaction to our talk. Delivered over burgers at White Castle. Grease is grease for wheels, was wary. Don't fuck it up again. But he came around. Mia thawing with invitations to double dates. Awkward at first. Her side eyes over appetizers. But laughter crept in. Shared stories bridging chasms. Winter whispered redemption. Zachary and I built rituals. Sunday markets in Morristown. Apple cider steaming. Hikes in the Watchungs. Hands linked unashamed. Caleb's wedding neared. December. Snow-dusted barn in the hills. And we RSVP'd as a unit. +1 official. Tensions lingered. Uncle Ray's grunts at rehearsal dinner. Caleb's best man toast laced with second chances. But under stars, as vows exchanged, Zachary's hand in mine felt earned. The wedding unfolded like a Hallmark reel with grit. Fairy lights strung across rafters. Hay bales for pews. Mia radiant in lace that whispered against the chill. Caleb stood tall at the altar. Vows steady. In flaws and fire, I choose you. And when he kissed her, cheers erupted. Mine loudest. Zachary's grip bruising my fingers in shared awe. Reception blurred festive. Open bar flowing IPA. A playlist heavy on Jason Aldean and the Lumineers. Dance floor sticky with spilled punch. Uncle Ray cornered Zachary by the punch bowl. Heard you're shacking with the artist kid. That true. But Zach met it square. Yeah. Happy for the first time in years. Ray harumphed, but clapped his back, grudging grace. We danced then, Zachary and I, under twinkle lights, his two-step rusty but earnest, my head on his shoulder to wagon wheel. Caleb cut in later, twirling me exaggerated before pulling Zach aside. Whispers, a hug stiff but real. Take care of him, Caleb said to me over cake, fork spearing frosting. He's all I've got left of. Normal, I nodded, throat full. Promise. Post-wedding glow faded to January's bite. Life settling into humanistic cadence, not fireworks, but hearth-warm. Zachary's landscaping gig steadied. Calluses softening with desk work added. Foreman now. Barking orders with that gravel timbre I loved. I freelanced more. My queer winery boards earning buzz. A gallery show in Chelsea sniffing interest. We merged worlds slow. My Bushwick loft hosting game nights. Caleb and Mia on beanbags. Mario Kart trash talk masking mended fences. His brownstone for holidays. Elena's ornaments twinkling as we trimmed the tree. Caleb hanging the star with a quiet miss you. Mom. Intimacy deepened. Romantic sinew strengthening emotional bone. Mornings. He'd wake me with coffee and kisses. Tracing tattoos I'd inked post-heartbreak. Anchors for the lost. I'd quip. Nights. We'd read aloud. His voice rumbling Steinbeck. Mine countering with Baldwin essays on love's radical grace. Sex evolved too. Less frantic fire. More slow-burn reverence. Bodies conversant in each other's dialects. His size mapping my spine. My nails etching promises on his hips. You're my unexpected, he'd murmur post-climax. Tangled in sheets that smelled of us. Conflict lingered. Vestiges. Caleb's therapy sessions spilling doubts. Feels like I lost my compass. But Mia anchored him. Their first apartment hunt a milestone we celebrated with pizza and blueprints. My own shadows surfaced. Panic attacks at agency pitches. Zachary holding me through. Breath steady as lighthouse beam. We're human, Alex. Messy masterpieces. Humanistic core. Growth in the grind. Love as verb, not noun. Spring 2026 greened tentative. We road-tripped the Blue Ridge Parkway, top down on his truck. Playlist shuffling Dylan to Hosier, stopping at overlooks for picnics of PB&J and possibility. At a Mabry Mill cabin rental. Rain-trapped. We talked futures. Kids? Not. But maybe foster. An open door for strays like us. He proposed casual. Over s'mores by the fire pit. No ring. Just marry me? Make it legal. Official. I laughed. Tears salting chocolate. Hell yes. But elope, screw the fuss. Caleb walked me down an aisle of wildflowers in Shenandoah come June. Small affair. Him in linen. Me a matron of honor with a smirk. Don't screw this up. Hayes. Vows echoed Baldwin. If we commit ourselves to this love. It changes us. Rings exchanged, simple bands. Engraved harbor and under dogwoods. We kissed. Crowd whooping, his VFW buddies. My art crowd. Family forged from fractures. Back in Jersey. Life hummed benevolent. Zachary's firm boomed. Mine too, gallery opening in Soho. His face front row. Proud. Caleb matched residency in Boston. Mia tagging for nursing, we drove them up. U-Haul stuffed. Hugs at the dorms tasting bittersweet. Call anytime, Zach said. Voice thick. Doors always open. Years folded like origami. Our 10th anniversary at that gap overlook. Fireflies encore. Him graying handsome. Me freckled from sun. Caleb's twins arrived. Elena Marie and Hayes Alexander. Chubby fists clutching our fingers at baptisms. His toast slurring sentimental. To unexpected outcomes. We volunteered at the local LGBTQ center, Zachary mentoring vets. Me leading art workshops, humanity's quiet rebellion. One autumn eve. Porch swing creaking. Zachary's head on my lap. He sighed content. Never imagined this. From that rainy night you fixed the sink. I carded fingers through silver. Best favor ever. Stars wheeled. Thunder distant. Life storm weathered. Love the calm eye. And in that American sprawl, from Brooklyn grit to Jersey heart, we found our harbor. Not perfect, but profoundly ours. Deep emotions distilled to grace. Betrayal scar faded to story. Human, after all flawed. Fierce, forever.